Welcome back. It's Melissa at Practically Creative. Like you don't know who I am. You may not. I hope you do. And if you're new here, welcome to the club. Welcome to the crazy place. We are going to play with scraps today. I have a bunch of scraps here, and I had some scraps from a project I did earlier. This is scraps of fabric that has heat and bond light on the back. And I think I'm going to turn it into something new and different today. I'm not going to start until we get a few more people here. So let's start with what I always start with, which is numbers. I wrote them down, and let's see. Colleen is at 1190 plus. Sylvia is at 858. I have it written down over here to my left. Dawn at My Quilt Projects is at 952. My sweet husband is still at 758. And Miss Ellen is at 740. I didn't look at a couple of other people because I was just not thinking whenever I pulled numbers today. But here I am, and we are going to play today with doing something scrappy with this little bit of fabric that's left over. It will probably go into a utility quilt and not into anything major and important. I've been kind of thinking about what I want to do with these scraps for a while, and lots of time to think while I was sick. Voice is still not 100% there, but we'll get there. We're all good. Excuse me. And here I am coughing in your ear already. Make sure my volume's turned down. Hey, Colleen, how are you today? And then set my little phone where I can see the chat. Sorry about the hair. Esmeralda and I went on a field trip this morning. Went to the, where did we go? To the car dealership to get the oil changed in the car. And alive, hello everyone. And the car dealership was really interesting this morning. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not enjoying trips to get oil changed here lately. I went in, we were overdue by about 1,000 miles. And we don't drive all that much. So I thought, oh, we'll go in, we'll get the oil changed. Had a couple of little piddly things. You know how it is. There's always something on a car that you're dealing with. Mine was, I've got a tire that keeps going flat, and they can't find anything wrong with it. There's no hole in it. There's no nail. There's no patch. Nothing like that. And I'm like, okay, hey, Patty C, how are you today? I saw a picture of your horse on Facebook. Oh, what a gorgeous horse. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I didn't know you were a horsewoman. I have a friend who used to run the Halflinger Registration Association of America. I should introduce the two of you. You'd probably get along great. And she's not on YouTube. She's not a YouTube person, but I've known her for years and years. And you guys might like each other. I don't know. Anyway, so go to the dealership, tell them, this is the oil change I need done. And I'd already told them about one of the issues, the one with the tire. And then on the way to the dealership today, my hood sensor kept saying that my hood was open. So I asked the girl, I said, can you have somebody look at that while it's in here? Because, that's a scary little sensor to have going off all the way into town. And remember, we live like 30, 45 minutes out of town, depending on traffic. And so I listened to that hood sensor go off all the way to town. I was like, well, they don't have a tech in. So I'm like, okay. So I change my oil, and then they come out. Oh, and the car turned over 60,000 miles while I was driving into town, which means that it's no longer under powertrain warranty. It's good for 6 years or 60,000 miles. So it was like 60,008 miles when I pulled in there. And they came out and gave me a quote, told me that all my tires were old and needed to be replaced. And they quoted me $1,200 to replace all four tires. I did not have them replace my tires. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Because if I'd gone in there before my car hit 60,000, my tires would have still been under warranty. So I was like, yeah. So got in there. I was like, yeah. Aw. Oh yes, Sherlock So's did do a cute short of her doggy. Um so anyway, I came home, I checked on prices for tires. The same tires at Walmart would cost me under $300 to have them all four replaced and installed in the whole 9 yards. And I was like, boy, that's a big difference. So I'm waiting on hubby to call me back. The hood did not make the dinging noise on the way home, and the oil change was done. But of course, they tried to upsell me 14 different things while I was at the dealership. And I was just like, I don't need you to change my cabin air filter. I don't need you to change my galvanized go faster. Just get out of my face. So I'm like, does anybody else have these issues when you go into a car dealership that they treat you like you're stupid? Anyway, so that's my rant for today. Car dealerships. Yes, that was a cute short. If you haven't, well, I'm sorry that you don't have horsies anymore, Patty. I know that horse people are horse people. I had a cousin who was horse crazy when we were a kid, and she was always going on about her horses. So, anyway, so what we're going to do today, and this is my wild idea. I've never done this before. I don't know if this is going to work, but I thought it would be something kind of cool to try. When I was working on my quilt for my cousin, which means that she's my first cousin, so her baby is my second cousin. So when I was working on that, oh, thank you, Deb. Hey, Deb Somerville. I ended up with this piece of fabric left over, and I'm going to turn you guys so you can see. I hope. There you go. So what I've got is a 12 by 12 inch piece of background fabric. And then I'm going to, I think, slide some like extra pieces underneath. And there is heat and bond on the back of all of this purple. So I kind of want to put some scraps underneath there and then iron it down and see how that comes out. So are you guys game for playing with me today? Figured it was something we could do that was just fun. And that's what I'm looking for, is just to have a little fun with this excess fabric. This block may never go anywhere. And then again, it might end up in a utility quilt. I don't know. So that's the general idea. Is I'm just going to slide the little extra pieces underneath there and iron them down. That pup is a handful. And you love that puppy, so don't even. Oh. And I just grabbed scrappy stuff that was sitting up here on my table, so I don't even really know what I have. But I thought, why not, right? And believe it or not, it's not raining this afternoon here in my neck of the woods. Not supposed to rain till about 7 o'clock. Eh, YouTube won't fire you, Lori. And if you go off on trolls, oh well. Trolls should have known better, right? I've turned my iron back on. I think what I'm going to do is try to like kind of iron the sections as I go. And if that doesn't work, I have glue sitting here to work with if I need it. I think Tracy Albert, who is a mod here, said that she had 4 or 5 subs, and she was like, why? Now, there isn't any heat and bond on the back of the scrap pieces that I'm putting in here, just on the back of the purple. So I'm kind of just winging it. You might get brave one day and do what? YouTube videos? You should, Deb. I've seen some of the stuff you've done on Facebook pages, pictures here and there. Everybody's got something to teach. I don't care how long you've been sewing or quilting. I think everybody has a little something in them. And I certainly didn't think I had as much to teach as I have actually gone out here and taught. This kind of feels like reverse applique. Anybody else ever do crazy stuff like this? Just to see what you can make? There is one lady that I have watched. She's got like 3 videos up, but she does rope bowls. That's all she's done. And I subscribed to her because I really liked how she did those rope bowls. She may never put up another video, but that one was interesting and fun. So maybe she'll put up something else. It would be neat to be able to see. And I think she's probably got a lot more skills than just rope bowls. Because her rope bowl video was very, very, very informative. Excuse me. Yeah, we've been trying to get Sherlock to do it for forever. And she finally decided that she wanted to try at least a short. And that might be the way to go. If you're interested at all, Deb, put up a short or 2 and see what kind of reaction you get. You may actually be surprised. I think Lori got like 100 views on hers. And we've been after Lori to do something for a while. So has her family. So what's going on with everybody else out there? I know I haven't seen Deborah Holden in a couple days, but she had her surgery on her knee a couple days ago. And she probably should be going home about now. This is looking a little weird to me, but I'm going to go with it. I don't want that thread on there, though. Patty, you're supposed to be working. Do you work from home too? That's my biggest thing right now is trying to get adjusted to Wayne being out of the house. Oh, I must not have been paying enough attention, Sherlock, because I didn't see that. And I was there for the whole live. It is nice meeting people when you know their screen names. I have people that I've known online for like 30 years. And I had lunch with the horse lady that I was talking to Patty about a little bit ago. I had lunch with her a little over a month ago. First time ever meeting in person. But I call them my imaginary friends. They aren't imaginary. We have helped each other through marriages, divorces, having kids, losing kids. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll notice that I almost always repost missing people stuff. That's because of one of my imaginary friends. She lost her son violently a few years ago, and he went missing for a couple of days before they found him. He didn't do anything wrong. He was a West Point cadet, but he had a friend who didn't turn out to be a friend. That's who killed him. But her son got a posthumous appointment to West Point. Hello, Shirley. Oh, 3 miles away for your office? That's not bad. I liked having Wayne home for work, but it was starting to really wear on his nerves. He's a people person. He likes to talk to people and, excuse me, be around lots of people and stuff, and I'm not. So he decided that he wanted to go back out in the real world to work. And I'm down with that if that's what he wants to do. And I think I'm only using Halloween colors here today. Black, yellow, orange. The purple's not a Halloween color, but you know. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, Shirley. How you doing? Are you last I talked to you, I think you were contemplating surgery or adjusting to meds. I'm not sure which. You all through all of that now? Tracy! See, I knew she'd be here eventually. I didn't send her a text message, so it's my fault she's not here. She wasn't here earlier. And I didn't send her a text message because I wasn't sure if her buddy Brenda was still there. They needed some sister time. Everybody's got that one friend that they've known since the dawn of time. That's Tracy's girl. It's just that something I had scraps and leftovers, and Sylvia, it's actually kind of Sylvia's fault. I don't know if there's fault there really. She had asked me if I was going to throw away all my scraps from making the sunbonnet Sue's and the little quilt for Dane. And I said, well, of course I'm not. And then I was like, now how am I going to use this? So I had to come up with a way to use it. Sylvia! Oh, I thought she was staying for like a couple of weeks with you, Tracy. I'm sorry. My bad. But what I think is really cool about this is that I can trim this block down. I've got a couple of quilts that have 10.5-inch blocks in them. So if I trim this down to, I thought I had the smaller ruler over here. Get my ruler. But see, I can use my, this is a 9.5, but I can trim it wherever I want so that I can get just the I don't get any background showing. So I could put that into any quilt that I've got floating around here. And yeah, Sylvia, you inspired this one. And I can also get out my, or take it over here to my sewing machine and do decorative stitches all over it. I could quilt it as I go. But I just was like, let me take some of these scrappy pieces I've got floating around and put them in here. And there's no rhyme or reason to the block, obviously. Thank you, Sylvia. It's just a block, but it'll go in, half a dozen of the quilts I've got floating around here, or it can literally go into a utility block and be used just as that. Quilt you make for, charity or for the Humane Society, whatever. So that was kind of what I was thinking. And I will have to stitch it down some because the fabric that's in the underside doesn't have any glue on it or anything. So it will definitely have to be stitched down. But I can do it on whichever way I want to do it. I was looking at this and I was going to use some of the pieces of this. Hi, Eva. We're good. How are you today? I was going to use some of the pieces from this, but I have an idea. That tote bag pattern that I was given has got me thinking about drawing another tote bag onto some batting and doing another one like that. Yeah, it is really abstract. I mean, and it could go into anything. I could put it in a jacket even if I wanted to make one for little Dane, and it would match his quilt and his bib. I had to turn that iron off. I can smell it, and I don't like that. And I have goodies coming today. I finally ordered. I'm going to move you guys again, so putting my hand up here. Making sure it's got me and not the wall behind me. My hair still looks awful. I've got a curtain rod coming for my design wall back here. I ordered a heavy duty one so that I can put um, my design wall up onto a stronger rod and slide it back and forth. The reason I did that is because my rope is starting to fray and because of me moving the design wall back and forth. So I thought, well, let me get a curtain rod so that this rope doesn't break on me. So that's on my list of things that's coming today. And I've got some headphones coming that are, I'm copycatting Colleen on this. They sit like in front of your ears so you can hear whatever you're listening to, plus hear things around you. With Wayne working out of the house, I want to be able to hear if someone knocks on the door or whatever. But I also like to listen to audiobooks or the TV while I'm sewing. So I think that they're going to work. If they don't, then I'll send them back. Bracelet cuffs. What are you putting on the bracelet cuffs, Sylvia? I'm nosy. I think that's my middle name is Nosy. Can you guys see over here to the sewing machine? There you go. Because I'll sew while we talk. Make sure I got the right foot on there. I'm just going to do like a basic zigzag around the edges of this stuff. And you shouldn't be able to hear the sewing machine. But if it gets too loud, say something and I will fix that for us. Awesome, Sylvia. Yes, please post a picture for me. Making really good use of my Marshall's dry goods fabric. Oh my goodness, Colleen. Well, that's the whole reason I ordered him, is because you said he really liked his. She lost her Sojo, Eva? I really like the idea of making smaller projects. Like, in between every quilt, make something smaller, a tote bag. Some of those little storage bins, a zipper pouch, anything that's small and that she can just be creative on. I don't know what everybody else does, but that's my go-to when I get to the bummed out point. Or I have like orphan blocks. I'll try to figure out what I can do with them. Fibromyalgia. Yeah, you've been in a flare for a while, right, Shirley? And I am not discounting that at all, because when my RA acts up, you guys have seen, I just look like somebody killed me. I took a short down that I had up from last year, because every time it popped up on my feed, because I watch my own shorts over and over, somebody's got it, right? But every time it popped up on my feed, I just looked at it and went, oh my gosh. why would I let somebody see me looking like that? Oh, so I took it down. It still shows if I'm watching because I have the link to it, but it doesn't show for anybody else. Finally, it's private. But I understand flares for sure. And all I'm doing here is just a zigzag along this. Oh, Eva, that stinks. Hey, Shannon, how are you today? Shannon, I didn't look. What's your number today? I think the last time I saw you were 450, 460. And I'm just playing with scraps today. Had some stuff left over and I thought, well, let's do something with it. All right. And some of you may have noticed that I switched my needle so that it stays down whenever I stop. I did that on purpose. 515 is awesome. That's really good. And how long have you been a channel now? Only a few months. I have no doubt your channel is going to grow. Eva, taking a quilt apart is never fun. Did her long armor try to blame her for the issues? That's never fun either. It's one of the reasons I started doing free motion quilting on my own quilt. Not because the long armor ever gave me a hard time, but because I heard about other people being treated badly, in my opinion, by their long armors. I'm not saying that a long arm quilter should fix someone's mistakes, but I think that there's a nice way to say, hey, this doesn't meet the standard that I need. And there's a mean way to do it. And the mean way does things like mess up people's sojo. Oh, the mean way does mess up people's sojo. The nice way doesn't. You know, along the lines of, I really need you to do XYZ for me on your next quilt or whatever. And maybe there's, I don't know. I'm not a professional long armor, so I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong on that. I already ranted today about the car dealership. I don't want to rant about a long armor too. So Shirley, are they trying new meds for your flare? Is anything helping? Oh, I meant to share this with you guys. I meant to share this a while back. When my doctor prescribed what I called the nuclear option for meds for COVID, she gave me what I felt like was a mega dose of steroids, 20 milligrams every day for 5 days. And I thought that was a lot, but it did help with the COVID. But what was really interesting to me was that within like 3 days, all the swelling in my hands and my feet and my wrists all came down. Now it's come back now that the steroids are mostly out of my system. But I plan on talking to my RA doctor at my next visit and finding out if a low dose of steroids might help with that. And only because inflammation is my biggest issue. I have got a guy. Oh, I took my car and had it washed today. Wayne's been driving my car for almost 3 years, and now he's back to driving his. So I had my car washed today. I've got a guy coming to detail it tomorrow morning. And any of you who are married know that men don't keep cars the same way women do. I'm not obsessive, but I don't like papers and garbage and stuff sitting in the floor of my car. And it doesn't bother Wayne. So when he went back on the road for work, I told him, I said, well, you're taking your car. Hey, Nancy. Hello, Kelly. So when I got in my car today, I went, ew. Because I haven't been driving much over the last couple of years. But so I got a guy coming tomorrow. He's going to wash my car, wax my car, shampoo the seats, the whole 9 yards. I'm really looking forward to that. Wayne was like, oh, that's expensive. And I'm like, not half as expensive as a divorce. So I wouldn't really divorce him over the car, but I want it clean. He hauled hay in my car one time. It took him 6 months to clean it out. So I was like, we aren't playing that. Because he says, oh, I'll clean out the car. No, we'll just get it cleaned. You take 10 milligrams for prednisone? Yeah, exactly. And if, I'm going to ask her about it. If the prednisone will work, then I will try it. But, and we'll knock on wood on this one, I haven't, thank goodness, had a flare since the COVID started. I talked to a girlfriend of mine last night. Apparently, she's an ER nurse, and she had managed to avoid catching it until just this last couple of weeks. And apparently, the doctors that she works with think that the variant that's going around right now is easier to catch. And I had hot flashes when I had COVID. Like worse than menopause hot flashes. And she was like, oh, me too, girl. I'm having that problem. So I guess that's a symptom of the new variant. You're making scrappy trees for the border of your quilt, Kelly? That's awesome. Let's see, I'm going to sew across there. The other reason I wanted to do like this kind of hand applique thing is because I want to run that orange bobbin thread that I put in here the other day out so that I can go back to the lavender, which I prefer, or even to white. There's not too many places you can use orange bobbin thread without it being a pine. So this one's perfect since it's appliqued over the white background. The orange won't ever show. Oh, that would be awesome, Sylvia. I think DIY jewelry is like a big on trend right now. That and bucket hats. I need to make myself a bucket hat, but I want to make one with a wider brim than I did before. And I'm not talking about turning a rope bowl into a bucket hat. I mean a real bucket hat, like you'd wear when you mow the yard. Where'd you get your gnome panel from, Kelly? And I'm asking because I know Colleen's dying to know. She bought gnome panels from, I think, Halo. The one she has hanging up in her background on her lives. Oh, well, doggone it. Can't help you there, Coley. She's had it for years. And I did deliberately skip this black one because I wanted to get that floppy edge sewn down. It's kind of nice though that the purple fabric, because it had the heat and bond on it, bonded right down to the fabrics that are underneath it. Well, I wasn't trying to get you to buy more fabric. I was just like, I know you like gnomes. This sewing machine isn't real. This is a Baby Lock Jazz. I don't like the satin stitch that it does, but I can get pretty close to a satin stitch if I take it down really small. I just did a zigzag stitch for now. And part of the reason I did that is because I know that I'm going to, or I suspect that I'm going to put this in a quilt at some point. And when I put it in the quilt, I will probably quilt the quilt to death because that's what I like to do with utility quilts. So this little zigzag stitch will be more than enough on here. And then all I'm doing now is I'm just cutting off thread tails on the front side. And because this doesn't have batting on the back, I didn't worry about burying thread tails or any of that. Because I actually got a question about that from somebody. And then when I go to square this down, I don't have to worry about if I cut it here, will it compromise something and make it not hold on here. So I like it. I'm looking at the picture on camera, and this seems like a really big piece of orange over here. So I'll probably make sure that that gets trimmed out some whenever I get ready to cut it. It is a very abstract block. Who said that? Sylvia? I think it'll look kind of cute in something. And let me pull my iron in here. Ant, you must die. Thank you, Sylvia. Give it a little bit of heat here, just to make sure that all of my this is the kind of weird quilting I like to do. I like to make blocks, but sometimes it's just fun to take scraps and just turn them into something. You know what I mean? Because almost everything there would have probably been tossed, but now it'll get used in something. Maybe I'll use it in a tote bag. You never can tell. Owie. I got an itchy. All right, we're going to turn back around here so I can see you guys. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. There I am. Oh, my neck hurts after that. And I didn't sew, like I said, up around all these edges because I will trim it down and I'll cut off all my little excess pieces. And there will undoubtedly be a border put around this block whenever it goes into a quilt. So that'll take care of those little edges if there are any left. But that used up the scraps from Dane's quilt for the purple part. And I have a few more floating around here, but I've been working them into other stuff. I had some pieces that were big enough for little blades of Dresden, so I cut those already. And this was the last of that fabric that I had left. So now it's out of my way too. Would look great as the front of a bag, huh? And if I really wanted to get fancy dancy, I guess I could go in there and add some like embroider names or dates or events or whatever on it. Maybe I put it into a bag and give it to my cousin as a diaper bag or a tote bag to use for hauling stuff for the baby around. And he's home and he's growing like a weed. They said he was preemie when he was born, but he was almost 8 pounds. And he's already doubled his birth weight. So I'm really glad I didn't make anything newborn sized for him. And that I made my quilt that he's getting, I think it's this weekend, is this baby shower. But I made the quilt for him, and it's bigger than, a little dinky baby size, because a little bitty one wouldn't even wrap around him at this point. So, okay, guys, I have been here almost an hour, and I'm seeing weather warnings from the sheriff. I don't know if they're heat warnings. Yep, heat warnings. Until 7 o'clock, which means that about the time the heat warning expires, we'll start getting storms again tonight. So I'm like, yay. So it'll storm right as I want to take a shower and go to bed. And that's not fun. That's not fun at all. So has anybody got any questions on any of this here? It was pretty simple, but if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Oh yeah, Kelly, it's worse this summer than I've ever seen it. But we always get crazy weather during hurricane season, which is June through November for us. And usually you get a rainstorm around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But I don't recall a summer where we ever got so many excessive heat warnings. So when we like grow for like planting tomatoes and lettuce and all that stuff, we actually start in September or October, not in, April like everybody else in the country, because it's too hot during the summer for anything to grow. 113 degrees outside right now, your tomatoes would turn into nothing real quick. You'd have these little sticks of green. So yeah, it's a little different. All right, guys. I want you all to have a great day. I appreciate you watching and hanging out with me. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Um, and if I can answer any questions for you, if you're watching this after the live, then do a comment down below. I do check my comments every day, so I'll try to get you an answer as fast as I can. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a great day. Bye bye.